Hello friends, my name is Masu. Today we shall discuss about topic the risk management and fraud reduction. Friend, today's topic is very interesting, especially if you have interest in digital banking, or you have interest in product management, project management and business, and you want to learn about it. So let's start, friend. First of all, friend, we have to understand that what is actually a risk actually. Friend, risk is a uncertain condition in a project where we are not sure whether this will happen or not happen. If it happen, it may have a positive impact or a negative impact. Positive impact means that it will become an opportunity, and negative impact means that it will have a negative impact on your in terms of time, in terms of cost, in terms of business. So whatever the risks are there, we must have to handle that risk. For example, you are working on a new technology, for example, and you are not sure whether you will successfully will be able to work on this new technology or not. So this is a risk. You are launching a new product. You are not sure whether the market will accept the new product or not. So this is a risk. So basically, friend, if we talk about risk management is the process of identifying, assessing and mitigating potential risk that could impact the achievement of an organization's objective. It involves a systematic approach to understand, evaluate and address uncertainties that could affect the successful execution of project, operations or strategic initiatives as well. So basically, in simple way terms, basically, friend, if there are uncertainties in a project, okay, so the approach or process to handle that risk is basically called as risk management. Then if we talk about the key components of risk management, are risk identification, means identify potential risk that could affect the organization. This involves looking at internal and external factors that may pose a threat here as well. That means first of all we have to identify that what are the things which could impact the work actually. Like examples are market volatility, means not sure what are the exact situation or conditions of the market. Technology failure, like maybe technology could be failed when it goes in market. Regulatory changes, like there are regulatory authorities in every country. If there are changes in the regulatories requirements, so what will happen? If there are any natural disasters occur, so what will happen? So there are few examples of risk identification. Then risk assessment means evaluate the likelihood or impact of the identified risk. Likelihood means, friend, the probability, like how many chances are there that this risk will occur. And impact means that what is the impact in terms of time, cost, business on the project. These steps involve prioritize risk based on their potential severity. Okay, so based on that means the likelihood and impact, we will assign the priority: high, low, medium, etc. Then the tools which we used for risk assessments are a risk matrix, okay, or a probability impact matrix. So these are the two tools which we use for risk assessment. Then risk mitigation means that develop strategies and actions to minimize the impact of identified risk. Like how will you minimize the risk? For example, the team is not trained on the new technology, so what you will do, you can arrange a training for them. Examples are implementing preventive measures, diversification, insurance and contingency plan. For example, you have a risk that your car could be theft. Okay, for example, so what you can do, you can go for the insurance for car. Okay, then also, for example, if any issue occurs, so you can have a contingency plan as well. Islamic insurance is also a very good option which you can go for it. Then monitoring and review means continuous monitoring the risk landscape and assessing the effectiveness of risk mitigation and strategies. Like you have made a plan, now you have to monitor that how will you review it, how will you handle it. Ensure that the organization remains adaptive to changing conditions and emerging risk here as well. Then friend, we can talk about the fraud detection. Basically, and first of all, we have to understand what is fraud. Actually, fraud detection is the process of using technology, analytics and other techniques to identify and prevent fraudulent activities. It involves monitoring and analyzing patterns of behavior or transactions to detect anomalies or suspicious activities that may indicate a fraud as well. Okay. Basically, friend, in the digital banking or digital era, there are so many transactions are involving, so many things are going on. So we must have to detect if there are proactively detect that if there are any fraud actually. The key components are data analysis, means analyzing large sets of data to identify irregular patterns, unusual transactions or behavior that may indicate fraudulent activities. Normally, friend, what happened that the people persons are sitting and they are using data analytics software, machine learning algorithms, and they are analyzing the data of different transactions, customer behaviors, and etc., and analyzing if there are any unusual behaviors, etc. Then pattern algorithm recognition means establishing normal patterns of behavior or transactions to identify deviations or anomalies that may suggest fraud. Examples are unusual spending patterns, or for example unusual login locations. Then machine learning and AI means using advanced technologies to train systems to recognize patterns of fraudulent behaviors. Benefits are continuous learning and adaptation to new fraud techniques. Then behavioral analysis means examining user behavior and transaction history to identify deviations from established norms as well. Examples are unusual login times, multiple failed login attempts. For example, a person who has attempted like multiple times a password failure, for example. So this is a unusual behavior. Then transaction monitoring means real-time monitoring of transactions to identify and flag potentially fraudulent activities. Automated transaction monitoring systems could be used for transaction monitoring. Alerts and reporting means generating alerts for further investigation when potential fraud is detected, enabling timely intervention and response to mitigate the impact of fraudulent activities as well. So, friend, in summary, risk management focus on identifying, assessing, and mitigating risk across various aspects of an organization, while fraud detection specifically targets the identification and prevention of fraudulent activities using data analysis, pattern recognition, and advanced technologies.